Hey guys, just a bit of an update for those people who were interested in the goings on to convert from a foreign pilot's license to a Japanese pilot's license. I think there's about 3 of you who are interested in this topic, but anyway, there's not much information on this on the internet, so that's why I'm making these videos, because there isn't much information on this. I don't think many people have actually done it. So I'll just mention first of all that I've gone to the next step. But I'll just mention that if you're going to do this, you really need a bilingual pilot to help you. You need a Japanese person whose English is really good, who happens to be a pilot, to help you, because I showed some of this paperwork to a friend of mine whose English is very good, Japanese guy whose English is very good, but he couldn't understand it because, it's all pilot stuff, so the average layman doesn't really understand it. So you need someone who's a pilot and who's Japanese. Or if your own Japanese reading and writing skills are very, very high level, you can possibly do it yourself. But, they'd have to be pretty high level because it's pretty tricky stuff. So anyway, we got onto the Japan Civil Aviation Bureau and they sent a list of requirements. Then we had to get onto a private company that does the printing of forms for the Japanese government, and got some forms to complete. And then there's some specific requirements depending on which country you come from. So because I come from Australia, I had to get a form completed from the Civil Aviation Safety Authority in Australia, the CASA in Australia, to confirm that I have a commercial pilot's license and that it's unhindered. It's not, I haven't had any penalties or any problems with it, that it's clean. So I had to get that, and another form to say authority to release information, so that CASA in Australia can confirm all this stuff with the Japanese Civil Aviation Board. Apparently that requirement varies from country to country depending on what your country can do, what information your country can share. So for Australians, that's what we had to do. So that's what I had to do. And then we needed copies of the logbook to show the last 40 hours in my logbook, in my pilot's logbook. We had to show 5 hours, a 5-hour cross country. So some flight that I'd undertaken where I'd flown 5 hours cross country with at least 2 full stop landings, so like a triangle. So they wanted to see that I'd been to, flying for 5 hours with 2 full stop landings in the flight. And they also wanted to see a page of the logbook from when I got my license, so that the entry in my logbook on the day that I took my license test. So all photocopies of the logbook stuff. And what else did they want? Oh, they wanted one flight of at least 296 kilometres, which is pretty funny because in Japan they use nautical miles the same as everybody else does, but for some strange reason 296 kilometres is they want to see one flight of at least 296 kilometres. So as long as you've got one of those somewhere in your last 40 hours, if you haven't, just make a copy of a page that does have it, So I think that was about it for the logbook. Yeah, and you have to sort of photocopy it and then stamp the photocopy with your Hunko so they know it's for real. They want the original of your pilot's license. So there's my Australian flight crew license. So they want the original of that. So let's hope that doesn't disappear in the post. The original of that. And then a stamped return envelope to myself so they can send the license back. And another one they can send. Oh yeah, one they want one with at least 800 yen worth of stamps on it, so they can send the license back. And they've got another one. So if I get through this next step, they'll send me another form that I have to complete and buy tax stamps, 3,000 yen worth of tax stamps or something for the next step. So you've got to include an envelope for that. And all going well, mug shots, passport photos, and then the forms, complete their forms. So this is where you need either an extremely high level of written Japanese, or somebody who can do the Japanese and who can also understand pilot stuff. Because these are the forms that I showed my friend, and he couldn't help me with them because it's all pilot stuff, So pilot and command hours, and they want to know pilot and command hours. They want to know hours under instruction, total, right? Total hours under instruction. Well, that's easy because that's in the logbook. But then they wanted to know total hours cross country. That took some time. Go back through the logbook and work out which flights were actually cross country flights. Strange question, but there's a bit of strange stuff. So yeah, you've got a day filling out these forms pretty much. So you need a patient Japanese pilot who has good English skills to sit and do all that. And then copies. So they want the original of the pilot license, but they also want copies of the pilot license. For foreigners, they also want a copy of our passport, a copy of our foreigner card, Gaijin card, and then a copy of the form confirming that we've done the tests, done the law test and the other tests, or been given credits for the other test, done the law test, given credits for the other test. So, I believe I've got all the paperwork in order now. So tomorrow we're going to post it off and see if we can overcome the next hurdle. So it turns out, I can't remember what I told you in the last video, but since then I think we found out that you can fly, if I get past this stage and they actually give me a Japanese license, I still won't have the radio license, of course, the radio operator's license, until I do the Japanese test for it, the technical test for it. But it turns out that if you've got someone who does have a radio operator's license on board the aeroplane, even if they're in the back seat, you can fly as pilot in command. So that means if I get past this hurdle, all I've got to do is just take somebody with me when I go flying who's got the radio operator's license, and even if they sit in the back seat, it's legal. So we'll post this off, and then I'll let you know what happens next. Either I'm going to get another form that's going to be looking good, or they might want to meet me. I was told that they sometimes want to meet people. So it's actually, JCAB is actually in Osaka. So we'll send this off to Osaka and see what happens next. More videos coming soon.